maybe this is controversial. I think product management is still technically brand new.
A small startup actually doesn't need a product manager. I usually create a chart like three sort of technical, business, and users, and they all overlap. You have to learn how to understand user needs. There is a great tool called product discovery. And then I also recommend exercise called product mindset.
I would highly recommend go to the US and specifically go to San Francisco. 100% of the people you meet in San Francisco are doing a startup. We are back with another episode of the Do As I Say, Not As I Did podcast, our startup advice show where we answer the real questions about what's going on in your life and in your business. So if you have questions or you're trying to put out fires, send us an email and we'll get into it on the show. Send those emails to podcast@joelditrapani.com. I'm your host, Joel Ditrapani, and today I'm excited to be joined by Anna Naumova, the founder and host of Prodcast, a company that understands the unique challenges that immigrants face when pursuing their dreams in a new country. And they're committed to providing the support and guidance necessary for them to have success. Prodcast offers online resources, business consulting, individual coaching, and the way I found out about them is that they have 2 podcasts in different languages that are growing like crazy on all the different platforms. Outside of this, Anna is a product manager and just a really damn good product manager and has worked at some of the biggest companies in the world, including the product holy grail, Apple. So if you want some credibility, that is everything right there. Anna is an expert at product management and an expert at moving to a new country, which is why she does so much helping everyone else. So let's jump into it. Welcome, Anna. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you, Joel, for inviting me. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, before we jump into the challenges, can you tell me a little bit more about Prodcast?
Prodcast, as you mentioned, is the 2 podcasts. One is in Russian language, the second is in English. And the idea is the same for both channels. This channel is to help immigrants to adjust to the US culture and find a job and build their career. So I have several episodes like playlists, including visas, job search, how to create your resume, create your LinkedIn profile, how to pass through interviews, offer negotiation, and a lot of success stories from people who moved to the US or got a job offer in the US. And some also psychological aspects of that, how to overcome imposter syndrome, fears, and all that frictions that prevent you to find a good job or build a career.
I love it. From the episodes I've seen, there's a lot about product management in there as well.
Yeah, there is some product management playlist, how to become a product manager and how to start career in tech as well. Yeah.
Well, if you want to learn how to be a product manager and get into product management and get into the top levels of product management like Apple, definitely check out Anna's work and check out her resources. So we're going to put all of those links in the show notes as well. So just scroll down and check all that out. But with that, let's jump into the challenges today. So Anna, I've tried to keep all the challenges kind of related to where I see you very much as an expert. So this first challenge is called, why do you need product managers? I've been wondering why startups need product managers. I totally understand why a larger company would, as they have multiple products, different areas, etc. But I struggle to understand what a PM would do for companies that are smaller. I'd love to hear all of your insights. This is from TMNT Brian.
TMNT Brian, this is a great question. And my honest answer to you, the small company, small startup actually doesn't need a product manager. It's usually the product manager role is played by the owner, company's owner, because they are the main product manager. So the only reason why they need a product manager when the founder decided to switch from the product to and maybe delegate some routine work to someone else. And the role is called product manager, but the responsibilities are usually project managers. So it's like create a backlog, talk to developers, create a documentation, all that routine that owners don't want to do. They delegate to the role called product manager, but it's actually project manager. So only when the company is growing, like for example, let's say like 50 people in the company, they might need a product manager, but the product manager role is strategic role. And you can imagine when the founder with strategic vision and a product manager with strategic vision, they can compete to each other. So I believe small companies don't need product managers.
That's really interesting. I was not expecting that. But I guess the way you describe it's quite interesting, which is that a lot of small companies do need product managers by name, but they're actually project managers and people to just take workload off you. I guess what you're getting at is when you have a strong, experienced product manager who has opinions about how to build a product coming in, and then you have a strong founder in that same role, you're just going to have fireworks.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what actually happens.
Yeah, I guess like in my own experience, we tried to like outsource product thinking really quickly to a product manager. And well, actually for a long time I didn't know what product was. So we didn't hire anyone in product, and I wasn't doing product. We just kept hiring engineers, and we're like, why isn't stuff getting done properly? And then we finally learned that, like, oh, we need this thing called product leadership. And so we hired what we thought was a good product manager. And you just can't in the early days outsource that side of the business, because early days product is like vision and heart and emotion, and that has to come from the founder because it's so gray and fuzzy and vague, and you need to be there like feeling it out almost. And kind of working through that mess that there is. But I would say I definitely needed product capacity in my team. Like that was one issue, is that as a founder I was doing like a lot of different stuff, but as soon as I needed to do more focus on fundraising, or there was a fire in the sales side of the business, like having product managers in the company made a huge difference for us. But I think that product management, maybe this is controversial, I think product management is still technically brand new, and people don't really know what it is. Like maybe it's been around for like 10 years or something, like in the masses, but like you can be called a product manager and have very different jobs. And so I actually think you need to get really clear about what a product manager can do for a company for you at different phases. And I think you've made a really good point here, Anna, of like project manager. But I also wouldn't want a straight project manager, because I want a project manager who is well versed in how software products are built. So it's like you need like a product focused project manager at the end of the day, or someone who's done that before.
Yeah, the product manager is actually doing some high level stuff like strategic, like what companies is doing, why are they doing that things, where they going, all that thing that actually you as a founder can define. And what you
Yes.
need, yeah, is some like implementation, more implementation. It's more project management role than product management.
Okay, well, I feel like we've got some pretty good alignment here, which is, TMNT Brian, why do startups in the early days need product managers? To some extent, they don't. When you're a brand new founder, you don't need strong product leadership from an external product person. You need strong product leadership from your founders. And if you're not getting that, you have a different kind of problem. And maybe you need a product founder. But you do need product capacity. So you do need the very much implementation focused product managers or project managers, but the people who can actually take your vision and turn it into life. They understand how to work with engineers, how to break it down into doable, buildable tickets, how to work with engineers. You need someone who can take your crazy vague vision and turn it into reality, because maybe that's where you're struggling. But that's where I see we needed product management capacity the most in the early days.
Yeah,
You feel
they
like I captured
probably
everything there, Anna?
Yeah, they probably need someone who just capture this idea and break it down into small pieces and track the implementation deadlines, timelines, like Gantt chart, all that stuff. And I believe like marketing manager, it's also important. So they can cover
Really,
both.
at the
Yeah,
beginning?
yeah.
What do you mean by marketing manager?
Just like social media manager, I don't know. Depends on your marketing strategy. People who can
Okay.
help you like to spread the word. Yeah,
Okay. Perfect. Love that.
yeah.
All right. Well, TMNT, Brian, you have been advised, and we're going to move on to our next question. So, Anna, I feel like this question is so perfectly suited to you. And I don't know if I have anything to add here, but we'll see. I love adding my unsolicited opinion wherever possible. But let's start with you. So, this question is called, how do I get into product management? I'm currently at a crossroads in my career and looking to transition into a product management role. I have a bachelor's degree in computer science and I'm pursuing a master's degree in data science, along with 2 years of experience in the tech industry. I would greatly appreciate any advice, tips, referrals, or resources on how to make this career shift successful. What are the essential skills and knowledge areas that I should focus on developing? Are there any specific courses, certifications, or networking opportunities that could help me break into the product management field? How do I get into the product management space? And this question is from Who is Eric?
Who is Eric? Thank you for your question, and let's dig into that. So, your background is technical computer science, with 2 years of experience in like the field. So, I think that's the great starting point because transition to product manager is real from the adjacent fields like technical engineering, design, marketing, QA, what else, customer success, so all that's areas that like people who work with product manager, that's the modern real to have transition from that. What you need to do is to understand the core capabilities, responsibilities of product manager, and I usually create a chart like three circles, sorry: technical, business, and users, and they all overlap. So if you're in a technical field, you already cover all the technical stuff. You know the technology, you know how technology works and how to implement it. That's great. So what you need to learn is business side, how your product make money, what the marketing is, how to advertise your product, and what's your revenue stream, what's your economic field, etc. What's your marketing competitors field. So all that's related to business aspect. And the third one is users. You have to learn how to understand user needs. And there is a great tool called product discovery to create hypotheses, to validate hypotheses, to talk to users, to ask them open-ended question. Why did you do that? Tell me about a time you did that. Why you decided to do that? So all that's related to understanding your users, and also including A/B tests, how to test those hypotheses, and metrics, how to analyze your results. That's like a user field. So you can learn that being a like a software engineer or computer scientist. If you can join the company, work as a computer scientist attached to your product manager, and start to learn that to extra fields like you need to know before you jump into product management, business aspect, and users, and start to help your product manager. Like for example, your product manager asks you to implement some model, yeah, and you can ask like, why do we need that? What goal are we pursuing? What we can want to accomplish with this? How we can do that differently? What are our core users? What are we going to solve for those users? What their problem? All that questions related to business and users you can ask to your product manager, and then you can learn how the product manager's brain works. And then I also recommend an exercise called product mindset. I recommend it to everyone who wants to be a product manager. So take anything, like I don't know, lipstick, yeah, anything around you. It might be digital product, it might be like real product, and answer several questions. What is that for? Who is our core users? Why it's built that shape? Why it's like lipstick is actually like it's like cylindrical form? Why it's not square? Yeah, which problem do this stuff solve for people? Who are the core users, and how can you improve that? So that exercise will help you to develop your product mindset. Do that, and you can have transition to product management within not quickly, but like 2 3 years.
Are there any things that you could recommend about like courses or transitionary roles or anything like that?
I don't think that courses are super helpful. You can take courses like definitely just for your understanding of the product management, but product management is a practice. It's a life school of life. Yeah, you have to do that. It's all your experience. So that's why I think the best way to learn product management is to work with product manager and try to help product managers.
I love a lot of that. You know, the I like the clarification of those three circles, the three kind of like pillars of product management, which is technical, business, and user. And I feel like those three things are always pulling in opposite directions. And your job as a product manager is to kind of like hold them together, to understand them enough. And this time, business and revenue is more important. And this time technical is more important, or the user is more important. But like, I think if you become a purist too much on any of those, if you're too focused on users or technical or business, then the product falls over in the long run anyway. And you need to like evenly balance for the different kind of like fires and pressures that are in a business at any one time. So I love that. I, I love that way of thinking about it. And it's perfect. If you're coming from a software background, you can't have technical checked, you're done. But now you need to start to understand why different decisions are being made, why maybe there are tickets being pushed down to you in the technical space that don't necessarily make sense. It's like, well, obviously they're for one of these other pillars, for one of these other circles. So start to try and understand why these tickets are coming there. So I really love that, attach yourself as much as possible to the product manager or multiple product managers in your business, depending how big it is. Start taking them for coffee, start taking them for beers, and just like understand, show me what you do in a day. Like, I love that. Learn from people wherever you can, reach out to 50 product managers on LinkedIn and ask them, can I buy you a coffee? Can I ask just for some advice? People love talking about themselves. I started the whole podcast so I can talk about myself, So ask people questions, I think, wherever possible. Like, I
Yeah,
think people are your biggest resource
and
if you
challenge
can
your
get it to
product
them.
manager. Challenge your product manager. Always ask why I'm doing that. What problem are we going to solve with this solution? Why are we building that? Always challenge your product manager. Product managers like answering those questions, and product managers like people who asking those questions. It feel that they're meaningful. They're doing for purpose. What's our goal?
And if a
Or
product manager doesn't have an answer to that, it means they haven't done their job right. So
absolutely,
they
yeah.
should
You
have
can
they should have a
challenge.
really
You
ready
can
answer.
replace this product manager if they cannot answer
Yeah,
those
exactly,
questions. Yeah.
exactly. Another piece of advice I'd give is read the book Build by Tony Fadell. That is my favorite book about business and product ever. Tony Fadell is the guy that created the iPhone at Apple, and has had, and I think the iPod as well. I can't quite remember, but he's had a lot of massive success. Then he started Nest and sold that for billions and billions. But he talks really clearly about product management and all the different kinds of product management and what people mean when they say product management in different ways. And he talks a lot about those different pillars, but a lot about why you would build something. So I think it's an amazing book. I love that. But if I personally was trying to get into product management right now and I didn't have any experience in it, I think the two paths I would take is absolutely everything Anna's saying. I agree with all of that. Understand the space. But the other two ways I would probably go about it, being a little bit sneakier, is one is that I would go look for chief of staff roles for the product founders. So chief of staff is like a role that works generally directly with founders or like heads of large departments. I would find chief of staff roles where the person you're working for is very much like a product person, because then you're getting a lot of experience directly with the product thinking. I think that's a good way to kind of like shortcut in there. And then chief of staff generally get pushed into much bigger roles in the company. The other thing I would do is I would start a podcast and I would call it Getting into Product Management. And then I would just interview a different product leader every single week until you get a job in product management. And you would just get access to tons of the right product leaders and product managers. And then they at some point will offer you a job. And you will get so many insights that you will miss from reading books or articles and stuff like that. But they're just my sneaky ways. I think Anna's ways are probably a bit more sustainable. So I'll try and wrap this one up here, Anna. If you want to get into product management, the first thing you need to do is you need to understand all of the kind of key elements of product and product management in a business. And those three elements are the technical side of things, the business side of things, and the user side of things. And you need to make sure when product decisions are being made, who are they being made for and why are they being made in that way. So if you're in a business and you're in the technical side of a business and you understand the technical side, put all of your focus on the user side or on the business side until you understand those. If you're in this technical side of the business, attach yourself to the product manager. Find a lot of product managers that you can learn from and just start asking them questions, how they do stuff, why they do stuff, when they do stuff, where they do stuff, and get as much content and context as possible. And then to finish things off, just start practicing product management all the time in your life and do what Anna called the product mindset, and just find all the different products in your life, different softwares, different physical things, and just ask as many questions to yourself as you can about it, which is like, why is this round? How much does this cost? Why does it cost? Who do we sell this to? What is this for? Where did it come from? And start to deeply understand. Because at the end of the day, I think product management is about just answering as many questions as you can and finding the right answers to those questions for the right people at the right time. So if you do that all the time, you will become a better product thinker, and that will help you get into the product space. How's that for a
Absolutely.
summary, Anna? Have I missed anything?
Absolutely, yeah, and how to improve it, yeah, because
Yes, and how
all,
to improve it. That's a good
yeah,
question.
yeah, that's the life of product management, to improve everything.
Yeah. All right. I love that. All right. Well, that one is wrapped up. You've been advised. Who is Eric? And we'll move on to the last question we have time for today. So, Anna, this one is called, is moving to the US better than staying in the EU? We're two founders just out of college working on AI agents. We'd be willing to spend a couple of years in the US to have a head start, but eventually would love to spend our lives in the EU. Is it worth it to move there for a short amount of time? From Arbueticos.
The question is it better to move to the US or stay in EU?
Yeah. I think from like a startup perspective.
Startup perspective. So I would start with understanding your visa, because I think visa and work authorization and all that like legal stuff is super important, and it might be a blocker for many people who wants to move to the US. So if you have no issues with that, so then you need to understand like pros and cons of living here, because yeah, pros might be you have a lot of connection here in the US. You can easily find investors here, not easily, but maybe easier than in Europe. You can connect with multiple other founders, smart people. You can find people who can help you with like promotion, implementing your idea, whatever you need. So everything you can find here. The cons of moving here is cost of life. Definitely, it's super costly, especially if you move into area like California or even like Austin, Texas, New York, Seattle, Washington. Super expensive. So you need to calculate, create a spreadsheet like what you're gonna gain here and what you're gonna lose here. And I think now nowadays in like the reality of distributed economy and a lot of people work remotely, you can easily start testing your hypothesis being outside of the US. And if you feel that you cannot do what you need without moving to the US, yeah, please try. But I would start with testing that. That's what I recommend people who wants to find a job in the US without even moving to the US. Start doing that outside of the US. Create a virtual phone number. Change your location on LinkedIn. Start reaching out people in the US. Start applying for a job with a US resume, with US phone number and US location, and see how they react. If no reaction, maybe you don't need even spend your money and go there.
I was not expecting that answer from you, to be honest. I thought you were going to be bullish on this, to be like, get to the US because you've been in the US now. But I guess, I I don't know what it's like in EU versus US. I could answer this question from like Australia versus the US. And I would say the first thing is it's very life situation dependent. If you've got a family or kids or different obligations in your country, that can make it complex. But if we just assume, there's two college kids, they're just about to finish, they've not got families, they've not got any obligations to support others. It's just kind of like a blank grant, and they're very keen on the startup space. I would highly recommend just like go nuts, go to the US, and specifically go to San Francisco. Like it's
The
super
worst
expensive.
place, yeah.
It's probably like in some ways, not a great place to live. But from a startup perspective, it is the mecca. It is a distributed world. You can make a startup work from anywhere in the world. That is absolutely true. And there are places in the world you can make your startup work from that have a way better quality of life to you and what you're looking for. But San Francisco, it is still the weight of startup capital and startup people. And when you go there, it's the most homogenous society and culture I've ever met. 100% of the people you meet in San Francisco are doing a startup. So if you want to be surrounded by other people trying to do the same shit where you can learn from them and get connected to the right people, like in my opinion, there's just no other place in the world like that. Now,
But you don't need to live here. You can just visit for like a few weeks, connect
you
with
can there
people,
are other
yeah, and go
ways.
back. Yeah.
You can do that, and you will get some benefit to it. But I think when you move to a place like that and you're there for a long time, the difference between staying somewhere for 2 weeks and 4 weeks, maybe it's not that difference. But the difference of staying somewhere for 2 weeks every 6 months and for an entire year is wildly different to the relationships and community you can build. So like, I think if you're young, you're hungry, you don't really give a shit about living in a terrible apartment, and you just want to go bullish on your startup for a couple of years, it's like doing a degree for sure. Like you will move further in that time than than anywhere else, I think, because also you will have made this commitment. Like, we moved countries, like that's a crazy thing to do as well. So like, just that itself will give you a different benefit. And I think, yeah, really just access to people. Like, there are more people there, and there are more way successful people there. If you move over, I think places like, even like Austin, like, are a bit overrated to move for startups because they're not as developed. But if you're going to move your whole life to have a crack, I would say, go to San Francisco and have a crack. But that being said, I do agree with you, Anna. Like, you don't have to do that. There are plenty of successful startups. Like, for example, I heard this the other day. I haven't fact checked this, but I've been saying it. Apparently, the country with the highest unicorn ratio in the world is Estonia. So, like, that's in Europe. But just the sheer volume of unicorns and funding and people in America is crazy. And when I spent a long time in America, I also realized that there was this, for me, it felt like there was this wonderful sense of opportunity. And that's the only way I can describe it. Like, at any point in time in America, the most wonderful opportunity could just be presented in front of me. And that's not the same in Australia, at least. So, anyways, that's kind of my take on it. But it is life dependent for sure.
Yeah, I'm probably more skeptical. I'm not
Yeah.
as a student, and I'm just
Yeah.
trying to understand the balance between your expenses and your like opportunities. So
Yeah, I wouldn't say you need to move to San Francisco forever in that way as well. But like, if I was in the position of these two founders, and
mhm.
I didn't have families or anything, and I was happy to kind of like, because when I was
Yeah,
younger, I was happy to kind of like live in like a shitty house
should
and
yeah.
like eat noodles or ramen or whatever.
I'm not
Then I
ready for
just
that right now.
Yeah,
I
exactly,
need a
and
very
we're in different life
expensive
stages
house
right
right
now.
now. Yeah,
Yeah, so I think at this point in my life, it's not the right fit to do that. But
yeah.
but at that point, I think it's worth the risk. But it's just a toss up, I think, for different life situations and what you've got going on. All right, well, I feel like we've kind of come to a conclusion here, but I think we're kind of split on it, which is totally fine. That's the beauty of this podcast, that we're getting different perspectives. So from Anna's perspective, is moving to the US better than staying in the EU for startups? Uh, Not necessarily. There are benefits to the US, and there are ways that you can try getting those benefits of the US without moving here. That could be everything from like doing it virtually. So just telling people, changing your LinkedIn to saying you're living in the US, get a number, and taking meetings at US based times, and see if you start to get those benefits there. Another way would be to, try doing trips here, spending different times in these places and meeting the people here and trying to see if you get those benefits. And then from my perspective, it's
Just go there. Yeah,
it just
spend
have a
all your
crack,
money. Yeah,
yeah, spend like it, depending on your life stage. If you don't have
yeah,
family and obligations, and you have the ability right now and capacity to do that, then go nuts. And
yeah,
also, visa depending, the US doesn't
yeah,
just take everyone. So if you can make it work,
yeah.
I think have a go at that stage in your life.
Yeah, yeah. It
All
depends on
right,
your money.
well,
Yeah, how much money you have. You have a lot of money. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Go ahead and spend this money in California. Yeah, that's a
well,
beautiful place.
yeah, California is expensive. Well, that brings us to the end of that question. So, Abu Etikos, you've been advised. And that will jump into the next segment, my favorite segment, or one of my favorite segments at least, which is Pitch Please. So as always, the Pitch Please card game is the official sponsor of the show. And as always, it's because I created the card game. So it's me sponsoring myself, but that still counts as me having a sponsor on the show. So the game is simple. We're both going to draw a random product card and a random customer card from the deck, the Pitch Please deck. And then we're going to pitch the most absurd and silly business we can imagine. So we'll just do 30-second pitches. So I'll go first, Anna. Okay. So my cards are bubble wrap for professional eaters.
Double wrap for professional eaters.
Bubble wrap for professional eaters.
Bubble wrap. Okay. What is bubble wrap?
So professional eaters, they're obviously eating a lot. When you eat a lot, you start to gain weight. Now, when you're professional eating and you're training and you're taking your trade seriously, you're putting on weight at a pretty quick pace. So that means your body is changing shapes. And when your body's a little bit unfamiliar, you start to bump into things around the house. So we've got custom bubble wrap to cover all of the sharp surfaces in your house. So as you're taking on this new trade, this new profession, your body's changing. You're not bumping into walls and hurting your shoulder, hurting your stomach. We're taking into account that your body's changing and we're changing your house with you. Bubble wrap for professional eaters is my business, and I'm taking investment. All right, that's my business. That's my pitch, Anna. You've got a shocked face. I don't think you like that one.
Yeah. Okay. I like this game already.
Okay, so I'll give you yours now.
I'm already nervous. Yeah.
You're already nervous?
Yeah.
All right. Yours are a scale for a monster hunter.
Scale for Monster Hunter. Okay.
Yeah.
Why Monster Hunter need scale? Okay. When you want to be a successful monster hunter, you need to catch a huge monster. And to understand their weight, you need to scale that. So that's why you need to perfect giant scale for Monster Hunter. Without that, you cannot sell your monster to your clients. And that's what I'm taking investment.
I like it. It's monster hunting is done purely on a size basis. So, you need large monster-proof scales specifically for monster hunters.
Giant. Yeah.
All right. Perfect. I love it. All right. Well, thank you, Anna. That is all the time we have for games. And we'll move on to the best part of the show, which is plug. So what have you got going on, Anna? What would you like to plug at the moment?
So I want to plug my YouTube channel. Definitely, if you want to learn more about product management or how to find a job or how to adjust to the American culture if you are an immigrant from any country. So you definitely struggle from some difference, especially if you're not a native English speaker like I am. Please join and find inspiration from people who moved to the U.S., who went through this path of job search, job hunting, product management, adjusting to the culture, understanding Americans, understanding some weird words, like you said. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll put those links in the show for sure. And then on my side, don't forget to like and subscribe on all of your favorite podcast platforms and just all podcast platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Go and like and subscribe on all of those ones. Thank you to everyone who writes in. We love your problems. If you have any problems that you'd like us to answer, send them through to the show at podcast@joelditrapani.com. And as always, steal a phone and like and subscribe on someone else's phone as well. Okay, so you've already done it on all of your phones. Now go and take someone else's phone and subscribe on theirs too. They'll enjoy it when they get their phone back. And if you'd like to ask me any questions or you'd like to catch up and learn more about the podcast, I want to meet as many of the audience as I can. So I've got a booking link in the show notes that goes directly to my calendar. So I want to learn about you, how you found the show, and let me know if you've got any challenges that you're facing in your business as well. And that's it. So Anna, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on today. Thank you for laughing with me today and arguing with me today. I've loved the conversation.
Thank you for inviting me. And don't forget to play this game. What is that for? And how would you improve a lipstick? That's
I love it.
Your homework. Yeah.
I love that. Well, this has been another episode of the Do As I Say, Not As I Did podcast. And we'll see you all next week.